Hello everyone, this is Priyadarshini Tiwari. Today I am here with you to discuss on the subject Code of Civil Procedure 1908. The topic for today's discussion is Jurisdiction of Civil Courts. The topics which are to be covered under this lecture are the definition of jurisdiction, meaning of jurisdiction, some case laws on the point, the kinds of jurisdiction, and in the last, jurisdiction of civil courts to try a suit of civil nature. Let me start with the definition. The word jurisdiction has nowhere defined under Code of Civil Procedure, but we can create a workable definition of the term, and according to it, the power jurisdiction means the power or authority of a court to hear and determine a case, to adjudicate and exercise any judicial power in relation to it. In other words, by jurisdiction is meant the authority which a court has to decide matters that are litigated before it, or to take cognizance of matters presented in a formal way for its decision. Now the meaning of the term. Jurisdiction means the extent of the authority of a court to administer justice prescribed with reference to the subject matter, pecuniary value, and its local limits. In other words, it can be said that jurisdiction is the competency of a court to deal with any particular matter presented before it. Thus, it can be said if the court has no jurisdiction, consent of the parties or their inaction cannot confer that jurisdiction, nor by consent jurisdiction can be outset. The defect of jurisdiction goes to the root of the matter and strikes as the authority of the court to pass a decree. A decree passed by a court without jurisdiction is a coram non judice. If there is an inherent lack of jurisdiction, the decree passed by a civil court is nullity. However, if the court has jurisdiction but it is irregularly exercised, the defect does not go to the root of the matter and the error can be remedied in appeal, etc. Now, some case laws as to decision of jurisdiction. The Supreme Court of India in Vanikamdi versus Subbarao held that it is a settled legal proposition that if a tribunal with a limited jurisdiction cannot assume jurisdiction and decide for itself the dispute conclusively. In such a situation, it is the court that is required to decide whether the tribunal with limited jurisdiction has correctly assumed jurisdiction and decided the dispute within its limits. It is also equally settled that when jurisdiction is conferred on a tribunal, the courts examine whether the essential principle of a jurisdiction have been followed and decided by the tribunals, leaving the decision on merits to the tribunals. Next, in the case of Abdullah bin Ali versus Golappa, it was held that the jurisdiction of the court has to be decided on the allegation made by the plaintiff in the plaint and not on the allegation made by the defendant in the written statement. Now the kinds of jurisdiction. Generally, jurisdictions are of three kinds: the original and appellate jurisdiction, the territorial or local jurisdiction, and in the last, the pecuniary jurisdiction. The original and appellate jurisdiction. In the exercise of original jurisdiction, a court entertains and decides suits, and its appellate jurisdiction, it entertains and decides appeals. Thus, a court dealing with the case for the first time after institution is acting in original jurisdiction. Municipal courts, courts of civil judge, and small causes courts are having original jurisdiction only, while district courts and high courts are having original as well as appellate jurisdiction. The Supreme Court is mainly a forum of appellate jurisdiction, and it exercises original jurisdiction only in specified or exceptional cases. Now, the territorial or local jurisdiction. Every civil court has its own limits fixed by the government, beyond which it cannot exercise its jurisdiction. Thus, the district judge is in the charge of the district and cannot exercise his powers beyond the district. The High Court has the jurisdiction over the whole territory of the state within which it is situated, and the Supreme Court had jurisdiction over the whole territory of India. A court has no jurisdiction to try a suit for immovable property situated beyond the local limits. Now, the pecuniary jurisdiction. Throughout India, there are a large number of civil courts of different grades having jurisdiction to try suits or hear appeals of different amounts or value. The court provides that a court will have jurisdiction only over those suits the amount or value of the subject matter of which does not exceed the pecuniary limits of its jurisdiction. Section 6 of the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 generally prescribes a prohibition on the courts, and it says that no court shall try a matter beyond its pecuniary limits. Some courts have unlimited pecuniary jurisdiction, like high courts and district courts have no pecuniary limitations, but there are other courts having jurisdiction to try suits up to a particular amount. Thus, where a court is empowered to deal with the matters where the value of the suit of the subject matter in question is less than 5 lakhs, the court is not entitled to entertain the suit above that pecuniary limit, and if it does so, the adjudication would be void. Now, what will be the pecuniary limit of a court? The Code of Civil Procedure 1908 does not prescribe any rule regarding the pecuniary limit of the court. The pecuniary limit of any court is not specifically mentioned under the Code of Civil Procedure, but the state government have given power to determine the pecuniary limit and the value for which a court is authorized to take cognizance. Now, jurisdiction of civil courts. Section 9 Code of Civil Procedure 1908 says that the court shall, subject to the provisions herein contained, have jurisdiction to try all suits of civil nature excepting suits of which their cognizance is either expressly or impliedly barred. One of the basic principles of law that every right has a remedy. that is ubi jus ibi remedium. Every civil suit is cognizable unless it is barred. Where statutory enactments only creates rights or liabilities without providing for remedies, any person having a grievance can approach the ordinary civil courts on the principle of law that where there is right there is remedy. Section 9, structured on the basic principle of civilized jurisprudence, that absence of machinery for enforcement of right renders the right negotiable. Each word and expression in section 9 casts an obligation on the court to exercise jurisdiction for enforcement of the right. The word shall makes it mandatory for the courts to try a suit of civil nature except those which are barred by any law. Now the question before us is, what is the suit of civil nature? So let me make it clear. A suit of civil nature is the principal question therein relates to the determination of a civil right and enforcement thereof. It is not the status of the parties to the suit but the subject matter of it which determines whether or not the suit is of a civil nature. The expression suits of civil nature will cover private rights and obligation of a citizen. Political, social and religious questions are not covered by the expression. So basically, any claim involving any right to property or right to an office shall be considered as a suit of civil nature. A suit in which principal question relates to caste or religion is not a suit of civil nature, but if the principal question in the suit is of a civil nature and the adjudication incidentally involves the determination relating to a caste or to a religious rites and ceremonies, it does not cease to be a suit of civil nature by the virtue of explanation number 1 and 2 of said section. Now the next question before us, what is the meaning of suits expressly or impliedly bar? A litigant having a grievance of a civil matter has a right to institute a suit unless its cognizance is barred either expressly or impliedly. A suit is said to be expressly barred when it is barred by any enactment for the time being in force, and a suit is said to be impliedly barred when it is barred by the general principle of laws. Thank you.